Life doesn't always knock on the door before it tests you. Sometimes it sweeps in like a sudden storm, shaking your patience, pushing you to the edge and daring you to break. But imagine living in a way where no matter how fierce the winds, you remain standing, calm, grounded, unshaken. That's the power of mastering your mind and spirit through Buddhist wisdom. In a world where chaos is constant, there are 8 daily habits that don't just help you survive, they make you thrive. Habits that turn challenges into teachers, fear into clarity, and setbacks into stepping stones. These are not abstract ideas, they are practical, soul-shaping disciplines that once lived form an unshakable foundation. When you live this way, you become the still point in the turning world, the quiet center of the storm. Here, peace is not something you chase, it radiates from within. Strength isn't about resistance, it's about alignment with something deeper than circumstance. And clarity, it becomes your natural state. Today we'll walk together through these 8 habits, not as theory, but as living tools, so that nothing and no one can break you again. We're going to the very first habit in today's video, sitting with pain, the first step to becoming unshakable pain. Just the word alone can make the body tense up and the mind pull away. It's one of those experiences we spend our lives trying to avoid, numbing it, distracting ourselves from it, pretending it's not there. But here's the truth. Pain is not the real enemy. Avoidance is. Suppression is. The desperate attempt to push it away is. Pain is a natural part of being alive. It's not a punishment or a sign of weakness. It's a teacher. In Buddhism, pain is seen as a messenger, carrying lessons that comfort cannot give. When we constantly run from it, we lose the chance to understand what it's trying to tell us. Imagine this. You hurt your leg. You could keep walking and ignoring it, forcing yourself forward, but eventually the injury worsens. Or you could stop, examine it, and learn how to heal. Emotional pain works the same way. If you rush to cover it up, it festers. But when you pause, truly pause, you create space for healing to begin. Sitting with pain doesn't mean you enjoy it or wallow in it. It means you allow yourself to feel it fully without judgment. You stop the constant escape into distractions, work, or endless scrolling. You take a breath, notice where the pain sits in your body, and listen to what thoughts arise in your mind. Maybe the pain is pointing to an old wound you've ignored for years. Maybe it's asking you to let go of a story that no longer serves you. The first moments of sitting with pain can feel unbearable. Your mind will want to run, to bargain, to find relief anywhere but here. This is where the practice begins. Staying, breathing, observing. You are not trying to fix or change the pain in that moment. You are learning to coexist with it, to watch it like clouds passing in the sky. Here's the magic. When you stop fighting pain, it stops controlling you. You realize that the pain itself isn't as terrifying as the fear of it. The more you allow yourself to face it, the more resilience you build. Over time, you stop seeing pain as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity, an invitation to grow deeper roots. Think of the bamboo in a storm. It bends, it sways, but it doesn't break. Its strength comes from its flexibility and its deep connection to the earth. When you sit with pain instead of resisting it, you become like that bamboo, grounded and unbreakable, no matter how fierce the winds. If you've been running from something, grief, disappointment, shame, maybe this is your moment to stop and turn toward it, to say, I see you, I'm here. You don't have to solve everything today, but you can take one breath, one heartbeat in the presence of what hurts. And that's where transformation begins. Remember, the habit of sitting with pain is not about becoming numb. It's about becoming present. When you choose to face discomfort with awareness instead of avoidance, you take back your power. You're no longer a prisoner to what you fear. You're the witness, calm, steady, and free. So as we move through this journey together, let this be the foundation. Don't run, sit, feel, listen. Trust that the pain you face today is shaping the strength you'll carry tomorrow. After learning to sit with pain without running, we arrive at lesson 2 in today's journey, the freedom in letting go of what you can't control. You see, not all suffering comes from pain itself. Often, it comes from our unwillingness to release what is already beyond our grasp. Ask yourself, how much of your exhaustion is born from clinging too tightly to people, outcomes, or circumstances that you can never fully shape? The tighter you hold on, the more your heart strains under the weight. Much of our suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our refusal to release them. We cling to people who have already walked away, to outcomes we can't guarantee, to circumstances far beyond our control. And the tighter we hold, the more we suffer. Letting go isn't the same as giving up. Giving up is born from hopelessness. Letting go is born from trust. It's the quiet confidence that life knows how to arrange itself without your constant interference. It's not about becoming passive. It's about choosing where to place your energy wisely. Think about holding a handful of sand. If you cup your hand gently, the grains stay in place. But grip too hard and the sand slips out between your fingers. That's what happens when we try to control what was never ours to command. In Buddhist wisdom, this lesson is simple but profound. You cannot control others, their choices, their timing, their feelings. You cannot control every outcome, no matter how hard you work. The only things you truly have authority over are your own actions and your own responses. And when you stop wasting energy on the rest, you suddenly find yourself lighter, freer, and more at peace. Forgiveness plays a huge role here. When you forgive others, you're not saying what they did was okay. You're saying, I will no longer let your actions live rent-free in my mind. And when you forgive yourself, you free the part of you that's been stuck in shame or regret. That freed energy can now be used to build, create, and heal. Letting go is a practice. Some days you'll think you've released something, only to find it creeping back into your thoughts. That's okay. Every time you notice yourself holding on again, you get another chance to loosen your grip. Over time, it becomes a reflex to breathe, to trust, and to release what's not yours to carry. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop clinging to outcomes, life often delivers something better than you imagine. Without the noise of control, you can hear life's subtle invitations, opportunities, connections, blessings that were there all along but hidden under the weight of your grasp. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to right now that is holding you back? Is it a person, a story, an expectation? And if you put it down, even just for a moment, what kind of space might open up in your life? Remember, your peace does not depend on everything going your way. It depends on your willingness to let go of what's beyond your reach and focus on what's within your hands. Your effort, your attitude, your presence in this moment. That's where your power truly lives. Letting go of what's beyond your control is like setting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying for miles. Your body feels lighter, but you soon realize the road ahead is still steep and the wind will sometimes blow against you. Challenges don't disappear. They simply change their form. In this moment, what determines whether you stumble or stand strong is not the strength of your legs, but the way you choose to take each step. This is where lesson 3 comes in. Stop reacting, start responding. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about creating a space, a pause, between the event and your reply. That space is where your true power lives. Most people live like matchsticks, ready to flare at the smallest friction. A driver cuts them off, and they explode in anger. A friend forgets to call, and they sink into hurt. These are automatic reactions, the mind's old programming. But Buddhist wisdom teaches that you are not your impulses. You are the one who can choose how to meet this moment. Think of it like standing by a calm lake. A stone is thrown in, ripples form. You can choose to throw more stones, making the water chaotic, or you can let the ripples fade back into stillness. Responding is letting the water clear before acting. When you respond, you take back authorship of your life. You're no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of circumstance. The words you choose, the tone you use, the silence you keep, all become intentional acts, not knee-jerk reflexes. This doesn't mean you never speak up or defend yourself. On the contrary, a mindful response often carries far more weight than a loud reaction. Imagine a heated argument. Two people shout over each other, neither really hearing. But if one person pauses, breathes, and speaks slowly with clarity, the energy of the whole exchange changes. That's the quiet strength of a response. Buddhist monks often practice this through mindful breathing. Before answering, they take one slow, conscious breath, enough to break the chain of reaction. In that breath, the mind clears, the heart softens, and the words that follow are aligned with wisdom, not wounded pride. You can try this today. The next time something irritates you, instead of firing back, give yourself just 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, feel your feet on the ground, notice your breath, and ask, what choice here would reflect the person I want to be? When you start living this way, people notice. They can't easily pull you into their storms. Your presence feels steadier, your words carry more depth, and your own heart feels lighter because you're no longer spending energy on battles that don't matter. Reacting is the mind's habit. Responding is the soul's choice. And every time you choose the latter, you're building a life anchored not in chaos, but in clarity. Learning to respond instead of react is like reclaiming the steering wheel of your own life. But keeping that control isn't just about the heat of the moment. It's about preparing yourself before the moment arrives. And that preparation begins the moment you wake up. Which brings us to lesson 4, morning mind mastery, setting the tone for your entire day. Most people let their mornings be hijacked without even realizing it. The alarm rings, and before they've even taken a breath, they're scrolling through messages, news, and notifications. In those first few fragile minutes, the mind, still soft and impressionable, is flooded with chaos. It's like pouring muddy water into a clear glass before you've even had a sip of the fresh spring. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that mornings are sacred. They are the seedbed where the day's energy takes root. Whatever you plant, there will grow, whether it's calm and focus or stress and distraction. Morning mind mastery isn't about creating a rigid, hour-long routine. It's about setting a deliberate tone for the hours ahead. Imagine your mind as a field. If you leave it unattended, weeds will grow without asking permission. But if you plant mindfully each morning, through breathing, meditation, gratitude, or intentional silence, you'll see your field flourish with clarity and resilience. You don't need perfection. You need presence. Even 5 quiet minutes before the world claims your attention can shift the entire course of your day. Sit with your breath, journal 3 intentions, or simply say to yourself, today I choose peace. And just as important as what you do is what you avoid. Don't let the first thing you consume be digital noise. Protect those first moments like a sacred space. Because what you allow in first thing in the morning becomes the foundation on which the rest of your thoughts stand. Some Buddhist practitioners begin their day with a short gatha, a verse of mindful intention. You can try something like, waking this morning I smile. 24 new hours are before me. I vow to live fully in each moment and to see all beings with eyes of compassion. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about entering it on your own terms. When you train your mind each morning, you're not just preparing for a good day. You're building the mental strength that makes you unshakable over time. So tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, reach for your breath. Set the tone. Protect your mind. And watch how a small, steady morning practice can transform not just your day, but the person you are becoming. When you've learned to protect the stillness of your mornings, you start to realize something deeper. Peace isn't just created inside. It's also shaped by what's around you. That brings us to lesson 5. Your environment shapes your mental strength. In Buddhism, there's a word for this, sangha. It means community, but it's more than just people gathering together. It's the collective energy of those around you, the shared values, and the environment that either nourishes your mind or slowly drains it. Think of it this way. You can light a candle in a gentle room, and it will burn steadily. Place that same candle in a storm, and no matter how strong the flame, it will flicker and fade. Your mind is that flame. Your environment is the weather. Your environment isn't just physical. It includes the people you spend time with, the space you live in, and the information you consume. News, social media, books, and conversations. Each of these is like a stream flowing into the lake of your mind. If the streams are clear, your lake stays pure. If they're polluted, your lake turns murky. Start by noticing who and what you allow in. Are there people who constantly complain, criticize, or pull you into drama? Are there digital spaces that leave you anxious or agitated? Your mental strength depends not only on how you think, but on what you expose your mind to. This is why monks carefully choose their surroundings, not as an escape, but as a way to protect their focus and energy. You can do the same, even in everyday life. Keep your living space uncluttered. Let it be a place where your mind can breathe. Choose to consume content that uplifts, challenges you in healthy ways, and expands your perspective. It's also about adding, not just removing. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to grow, who hold you accountable with kindness, who remind you of your best self. Fill your home with small details that make you feel grounded. A plant, a candle, a meaningful quote. Remember, mental strength isn't built in isolation. It's built in a space that supports you when you're strong and carries you when you're tired. Every moment, your environment is either watering your roots or drying them out. So ask yourself, is the weather around you helping your flame burn brighter or blowing it out? Once your environment begins to support your peace, clarity, and growth, a new challenge appears, one that comes not from the outside, but from within. In the noise of expectations, responsibilities, and social pressures, it's easy to forget who you truly are. And that's why we arrive at Lesson 6. Remind yourself every day of your true self. Think of your true self as a mountain, steady, unshakable, and timeless. The storms of life may pass over it, but they don't define it. Yet without daily awareness, we can start mistaking the clouds for the mountain itself. We start believing we are the stress, the labels, the roles others assign us. Slowly we drift from the core of who we are. Every morning before the world claims your attention, take a moment to come home to yourself. Ask, who am I beneath all the noise? What are the values I refuse to compromise? What is the mission that makes my life meaningful? One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to do this is through daily affirmations, not as empty words, but as conscious reminders of your highest self. For example, I choose peace over chaos. I act from compassion, not fear. I am worthy, not because of what I achieve, but because of who I am. These aren't magic spells. They are signposts pointing you back to your essence. Visualization is another key. Picture the version of you who lives fully aligned with your values, how they speak, how they treat others, how they move through challenges. Then each day, take even one small action that this highest self would take. Buddhist wisdom teaches that this alignment is not about becoming someone new, but about remembering who you already are when you're free from fear, doubt, and conditioning. The more often you remind yourself, the harder it is for the world to pull you away. Of course, this isn't always easy. Some days you'll forget, get lost in the rush, or be swayed by old patterns. That's normal. The point isn't perfection, it's returning, over and over again, with patience and compassion for yourself. Your true self is like a flame. If you don't tend to it daily, the winds of life will dim it. But if you feed it with presence, truth, and love, it becomes a fire that can light your path no matter how dark the night. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or step into the noise, pause. Place your hand over your heart, remind yourself of who you are, and step into the day as that person, not the version shaped by yesterday's chaos, but the version you came here to be. When you live each day connected to your true self, the path ahead becomes clearer. But clarity alone doesn't build the life you desire. It's action, even the smallest ones, that shapes your future. That's why Lesson 7, the power of small daily wins, is so essential. We often picture transformation as a grand leap, one dramatic breakthrough that changes everything. But in Buddhist wisdom, the most lasting change is born from gentle, consistent steps. A single drop of water seems powerless, yet over time, it carves valleys through stone. The same is true for your actions. Every morning, you have a choice: to live on autopilot or to take one mindful step in the direction of your values. These steps may seem tiny: reading a page of a book, taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply, choosing kindness over irritation, but over weeks, months, and years, they stack into something unshakable. Think of a bamboo tree. For years after planting, nothing appears above ground. But beneath the soil, roots are spreading, strengthening, preparing to support rapid growth. Then when the time is right, the bamboo shoots up almost overnight. Your small daily wins are like those hidden roots, quietly building the foundation for the moment when everything blooms. This is where mindfulness changes the game. Without it, small steps feel insignificant, and you may abandon them before the results appear. With mindfulness, you learn to find joy in the step itself, not just the destination. You begin to see that the act of showing up, again and again, is already a form of success. Celebrate each small victory, not in a loud performative way, but with a quiet nod to yourself. I kept my promise today. These micro moments of integrity build confidence from the inside out. They remind you that resilience isn't something you're waiting to gain. It's something you're already practicing. Of course, there will be days when progress feels invisible, when your effort seems to vanish into thin air. In those moments, remember the truth. The universe works in rhythms and seasons. Your role is to keep planting, watering, and showing up, even when the soil looks bare. Over time, the compounding effect takes over. What once felt heavy becomes effortless. The habits that once required discipline become a natural expression of who you are. And one day you'll look back and realize those tiny, almost forgettable wins were the stepping stones that carried you across the river. So start today. Choose one small, meaningful action and commit to it. Not for a week, not for a month, but for as long as it takes. Because in the end, it's not the size of your steps that makes you unbreakable. It's the consistency of your walk. After walking the steady path of small daily wins, there comes a point when action alone is no longer enough. You must also master the art of stillness. This is Lesson 8, Cultivating Inner Stillness, the quiet foundation upon which lasting wisdom and resilience are built. In Buddhism, wisdom doesn't sprout from noise or haste, but from a mind that has learned to settle. Imagine a pond after a storm. When the surface is disturbed, nothing is reflected clearly. But when the water becomes still, it mirrors the sky perfectly. Your mind works the same way. When it's calm, you see the truth beneath the surface and make choices rooted in clarity. One way to nurture this stillness is by creating breathing spaces throughout your day. In the middle of your busiest hours, pause for just a few moments, close your eyes, inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and simply exist. This tiny act acts like pressing a reset button for your spirit. It interrupts the cycle of rushing, lowers stress, and replenishes the energy you need to face the rest of the day with focus. Stillness also depends on what you allow into your mental space. Be mindful of the sounds, voices, and information you consume. News drenched in fear, endless notifications, and background noise can act like mental toxins, clouding your inner sky. Just as you choose clean food for your body, choose clean input for your mind. Even small acts, turning off unnecessary alerts, replacing negative content with uplifting stories, or simply enjoying the sound of the wind, can shift your inner atmosphere. But here's the secret. Stillness must be more than a reaction to exhaustion. It needs to be a deliberate practice. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed to seek it. Schedule quiet moments like you would any important meeting. Morning meditation, a silent walk, or simply sipping tea without a phone in hand. These aren't luxuries, they're investments in your stability. Over time, this daily commitment transforms stillness from a temporary state into your natural way of being. You begin to carry it with you into every situation, whether you're in the middle of a heated discussion, facing uncertainty, or making a life-changing decision. It becomes your anchor, your unshakable center. In a world that constantly pulls your attention outward, cultivating inner stillness is a radical act of self-preservation. It's not about escaping life, but meeting it with the full strength of a calm and awake mind. And the more you practice, the more you'll discover that this quiet strength doesn't just change your inner world, it changes the way life responds to you. True transformation is rarely loud. It happens quietly in the steady rhythm of daily choices, in the small acts that slowly reshape who you are. Over time, you realize that the storms outside no longer shake you the way they once did, because the roots within have grown deep. You've learned to sit with pain without running, to let go of what you cannot hold, to answer life instead of reacting blindly, to guard your mind each morning, to choose the spaces and people who lift you higher, to remember who you truly are, to honor the power of small steps, and to return again and again to the stillness at your center. This is not about becoming untouchable, but unbreakable. Not because life stops testing you, but because you meet each wave with the calm of someone who knows they will not drown. Like bamboo in the wind, you bend, but you do not break. The world may still be noisy, unpredictable, even chaotic, but inside there is a quiet place that nothing can take from you. And from that place, you move through life not as a victim of circumstances, but as a creator of your path. If there's one truth to carry forward, let it be this. Peace is not found in perfect conditions. It's found in choosing stillness and strength right here, right now. Before you leave, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments one thing you will start practicing today to bring more balance and strength into your life. And if this journey has resonated with you, subscribe so we can walk this path together in the next video. Your growth is not just yours, it inspires others, and together we create a quieter, stronger world.